Diabetes is a modern scourge. Adults with diabetes increase their chance of heart disease and stroke by 2 to 4 times the average.
Diabetes is one of those diseases, a chronic disease that patients will have for their lifetime.
It's a disease made more severe by our success. Lives where physical exertion is rare and food is readily available.
If you go into the streets, the size of people is clearly quite different from what you saw maybe 2 or 3 decades ago.
Every 21 seconds, someone in the U.S. is diagnosed with diabetes.
Well, we're facing really kind of a double epidemic of diabetes and obesity.
1 in 3 children born in the year 2000 will develop diabetes.
We never heard of type 2 diabetes in children until the last several years.
Diabetic complications can attack every major organ.
It's an international problem, and I think the cost is going to be huge in the next few years.
The financial consequences for our healthcare system are staggering.
I think the projections of what this explosion of obesity and diabetes and its consequences has on societies are really quite scary.
Many consider diabetes to be the most important health problem we will face. Undiagnosed or untreated diabetes can have devastating physical effects: heart disease, amputations, blindness, stroke. So for most patients, it's a life-altering diagnosis.
It was definitely a shock to get the diagnosis, and it was crushing at the time.
I really thought I was having a heart attack, when really I was having a high sugar attack.
At the University of Pennsylvania, the Institute for Diabetes, Obesity and Metabolism is taking an approach which crosses traditional lines of clinical treatment and research.
We call this translational medicine, and that really has now been embraced by the country through the National Institutes of Health. The interface of these disciplines will rapidly lead to better patient care and also preventive medicine.
For researchers, the benefits are significant.
It's a tremendous advantage to be in a milieu where clinicians are providing cutting-edge medical therapy and basic researchers are, down the hall or in the next building, inspired by the same broad questions but taking, very molecular approaches.
And that's something that is very important for us at the university, of trying to link up the world of research and ideas with the world of action and be able to translate research ideas into clinical care.
We have a very, very strong basic science research base in diabetes and obesity, and now we're trying to move this into the clinical realm. And we've done this in a number of ways. We've incorporated research rooms within the clinic at the Penn Rodabaugh Clinic. We've recently hired people who have expertise in regulatory affairs. We've hired a new nurse practitioner who is going to be trained in research methodologies that are specific to diabetes and obesity.
As a physician scientist, you get to see both sides. As a physician, your role is basically to provide comfort and help to people who need it. The science is the unknown. We're looking at the future, right? And the whole concept of investigating, using appropriate models, and discovering things, hopefully for the future.
For researchers, the benefits are significant. And while the results of research for patients do not have an immediate impact, Penn is on the forefront of revolutionary new discoveries, protocols, and procedures, which are already making a difference, like islet cell transplantation.
So the idea is, can we transplant beta cells from a deceased donor? We take advantage of that and isolate the individual islets which contain the beta cells that produce insulin and transplant it into a patient who has a very unstable type 1 diabetes to correct the high glucose and metabolic abnormalities that comes with type 1 diabetes, which we are very active not only for providing islets for transplantation to other centers, but also for the first time providing islets to basic researchers in diabetes.
The goal of research, in the end, is to serve the patient.
We built the Penn Rodabaugh Diabetes Center based on the premise that we want our patients to get the absolute best state-of-the-art care from physicians and also from allied health professionals, including our diabetes nurse educators, nurse practitioners, nutritionists, etc. but together a team approach that delivers the best possible care based on what we know now.
What is the difference in that part of it? The fat content. So it's the average of your blood sugar over the last 2 to 3 months.
And the Rotabal Diabetes Center approach to care has transformed the lives of patients. For attorney William Levy, the diagnosis of type 1 came as a shock. What was more difficult was an adjustment to unstable insulin levels.
Once I started taking insulin, on the one hand, my control was better, but on the other hand, I had the risk of low sugars, which is really the part that is most scary. And certainly my family were then having to deal with periodic episodes where I'd not be myself. I could get very upset and angry and scream at people.
But with educational help from the Rotabal Diabetes Center and a continuous glucose monitor, Levy was able to adjust more easily to a healthy lifestyle.
I've rarely seen such a consistently positive and supportive entity as I see at Rotabal. I can certainly say that in my case, the kind of attention, the broad base of services available, the kind of people, the tone that's set by the leadership makes me feel that I'm getting a very, very high level of care, and it's working for me.
The assistance I got through the provider care enabled me to kind of look beyond for new ways to challenge what I thought were the limitations, particularly through exercise. It does make me feel more confident that it is a teaching hospital, because I do feel, from conversations there in the office, that they are really wanting to be at the forefront.
For Ed Edwards, a relationship with the Rotabal Diabetes Center helped him adjust from a dangerous tendency to ignore his diagnosed condition.
I've learned a lot about a life-threatening disease. I've learned how it affects all the organs of your body. The people there, they really do want to help you. My life has changed. I'm not miserable. I'm not grouchy. I don't park myself on that chair 6 hours a day. I just have energy, and I know it's changed my life completely, and I owe it all to these people at the center.
I am a type 1 diabetic, and in fact, I found out that I was a type 1 diabetic at precisely the time that I started as provost at the university. For me, being exposed to the support, the compassion, the quality of healthcare that I receive from Rotabal has been really pivotal in terms of my capacity to lead a very healthy and full life.
Very few medical centers around the country have a facility like this one. This is absolutely state-of-the-art. And because the university believes in the importance of diabetes and believes in the health and welfare of the community here, we have this center.
It's a great staff here. At the professional level, we have world-class scientists, and then in the clinic we have the absolute best caregivers, I would argue the best in the country.